Oh, no, I don't.
Yeah, I saw last night.
We, live? No.
You are officially live.
Okay, the meeting of the West Ward Board of Canvassers for March 16th, 2022 is hereby convened at 3:33. Roll call. Members present. Chairperson Ray Lambert, Vice Chairperson Nancy LeBlanc. We have a new voting member, JP Millette. Congratulations. He was appointed last night, I believe. He will be the new voting member. Now we have, and we have an alternate Democratic member, Nancy Parenti is present. And we'll need an alternate Republican member. And that has to be a Republican.
Correct.
Because we have a Democratic one. Okay. All right. So we have 4 people, 4 members present. So we have a quorum and we can transact our business. I'd also be remiss, I didn't do it last time, if I didn't introduce our new clerk, Pamela Poulin Brown. She's our new clerk. I didn't introduce her last time. Sorry about that. Okay. First order of business is approval of the minutes of the March 9, 2022 meeting. It's attached to your meeting agenda. Did everybody read them?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Any additions, corrections, modifications, deletions, anything?
Not.
All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that the minutes of the March 9, 2022 Board of Canvassers meeting be accepted as presented.
So moved.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Okay, now we got presentation of alternative plans for the redrawing of ward lines for the town of West Warwick presented by Pretty Mather, ARC Bridge Training and Consulting, Inc. As you know, last time we went through the map and there were some questions raised by Councilman Jason Machadi. And Miss Mather was commissioned to go and check out, the concerns that Mr. Licciardi had. And so that we wouldn't, one of the concerns was losing a voting place like Christ the King Church. So with that said, I will turn it over, the meeting over to Pretty Mather.
Hello, good afternoon. You can all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Last time we presented alternate plans and then there were questions about polling places. So what we did was we created another alternate plan for you to look at. So I'm going to run the PowerPoint real quick and then actually go into the map where I can better answer your questions. So this is Plan A, which your current wards. And the only concern is that it is very close to the 10% thresholds that is for redistricting. So while it is within it is under 10%, so we are promoting it as a Plan A. Then we already went over these slides last time. And then we had presented a Plan B where we were able to reduce the maximum deviation to 2.63%. We had proposed 4 changes, change 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then there were some concerns about the polling places. So we just compared them side by side and noticed this area that there were concerns about. So we created a Plan C. And in this, when we had created a Plan B, there were concerns about this polling place, Christ the King. And that was going to be in Ward 4. So we, instead of making that change, we are proposing this change where the polling place will not be affected. And the maximum deviation would remain at 2.63. So the only difference that would be between Plan A and Plan B is this change number 4. Changes 1, 2, and 3 are still the same, and it's just change number 4. And what you can see on this map, you can see these red stars. That is where the polling places are. And then we compare them all side by side. So Plan A is your current wards, which means no change, but it's a good opportunity to look at change because your maximum threshold is sitting at 9.54, which is very close to 10%. Plan B, here, this is what we had talked about. And then in Plan C, instead of taking this part, we are taking this part from Ward 3 to Ward 4. And with
Pretty,
this,
excuse me for interrupting. Do we have a Plan C?
They didn't, she didn't, we don't have it
I could just-
printable.
Yeah,
I know it's on the
it's
screen.
a lot easier to look at it that way, Ray. It's a lot
Yeah,
bigger up there.
Yeah, see, they can't see the screen. All right, go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to know if we had a sheet with.
yeah, you do not have it. Now what I'll do is I will just show it to you in the map so that if you have any questions, you can look at either one of those, okay? So let me stop this share and let me take you to the application. Bear with me for a minute. Let me quickly open it.
Can you go back when you had the 3 plans up there? Plan C and Plan B both had the same deviation, percentage deviation. But Plan C has Christ the King polling place in Ward 3, not 4, is that correct?
Mhm.
That
Yes.
is correct.
Okay.
Could you put that up again, please? ABC.
Sure, let me put that up.
Because B and C have the same deviation.
Yes.
See what they did. See, they took out. See this here?
So here, if you look at it, this was,
That's back to-
yeah, we moved this back in Ward 3. And instead, to balance the population, we took 2 blocks from here. And that kept our maximum deviation at 2.63. So if you would like, I can show it to you on the map where we can zoom in and also show you
See, she did.
the streets and stuff like
She
that.
she just gave him a little bit more over here.
Yeah.
So if it's okay with you, can I show you the map?
Please.
Bear with me for a minute, it's just not showing up.
Nancy. Get the widescreen. So the widescreen, you see it?
Can you see my screen now?
No,
No.
No.
We see you. That's it.
Oh, okay. Let me fix that. Okay. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
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 This is now.
Okay, good. So on this map, we are showing you the polling places, the precinct numbers. What you see in the blue is the new house boundaries. So
Okay.
this is the change that we are recommending in Plan C. So there was this concern that this polling place, there would be two in Ward 4. So
Or we-
instead of
would
picking
be
this
three.
area,
3 in Ward 4 and only 1 in Ward 3. If we did the Plan B, because Christ the King suddenly got moved to 4 and out of 3. So 3 only had 1 West Warwick Manor and 4 had Christ the King, St. Mary's and Maisie Quinn. Okay, here's Maisie Quinn. Whoop,
it's over here, Maisie Quinn.
could you leave that like that, please? Maisie Quinn. Whoop, going again. All right,
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Quinn.
Maisie Quinn.
All right, and where's Christ the
Yeah,
King?
St.
here?
Mary's Church is down here.
St. Mary's Church is here, and if you would like to see Christ the King, it's over here.
Okay, so Christ the King is still in 3,
Yes,
and we've
Yeah,
got
because
Maisie.
I'm sorry, but all of yellow is 3?
it's 4.
4.
4.
Oh, okay,
This is all 4.
okay. Okay, yeah, those are the polling places, well, that we have now in 4,
Yes,
yeah.
St. Mary's, Maisie Quinn. See these 2 red wheels type thing? There you go. Could we see the same kind of map with the Ward 3? I just want to
Sure.
see.
Yeah, that's what I
their
was
polling
gonna ask
places. Where's
too.
Ward 3?
This is Ward 3.
Okay, here we go. West Warwick Manor and Christ the King. Okay, can we see Ward
Yeah.
2?
Sure.
Basically, and, yeah, okay.
All
and-
right, Ward 2, please. Clyde Towers. And
Holy Ghost Society and
Yeah,
Light
okay, and
Yeah.
Ward 1, just to cover them all. I see
Mhm.
Wakefield Hills up there.
Westfield High School and Sacred Heart Church.
Okay, last one, 5, please. Hardee's, Greenbush, okay. All polling places, under Plan C, all polling places are in the wards that
Yeah,
they're supposed to. be.
Yeah, and area-wise, they seem to be more even, but
Now, what you took out, a little sliver out of Ward 4, put it back into
3,
3. And the votes are the same. In other words,
The numbers are the same because I can show you the numbers in just a bit. Let me open it up. So Ward 1. Okay. Yeah, the numbers are pretty much the same.
the only thing I'm interested in is the part that under Plan C, the part you took out of Plan B, how many people were in there, and then how many people are in the new little block that you put in to Ward 4? It's the
Okay.
same?
Yeah, it is about the same. So here I'll show you how many I put in. So that is 110.
Okay,
So we put in about 256 people.
and you took out how much?
I'll tell you. I think it was this, not this. We had taken about 100 to 200 people.
So basically, you're saying that what you took out of Ward 4, putting Christ the King back in, I mean, putting Christ the King into Ward 3, and what you added to Ward 4 to compensate are roughly the same numbers.
That's correct.
All right.
Because that standard deviation, that's from the population from the census, right?
That is correct. It is the maximum deviation is always calculated based on total population. And it is the difference between the most populated and the least populated ward.
And what's the typical deviation that you would get? That would seem pretty typical to me, but.
Like I said, the maximum threshold is 10%. The lower it is, the better, because that means that all the wards have similar population. So here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Each ward should ideally have 6,202 people. And this is what we are seeing, that Ward 1 has a difference of 53, 63, 11, 29. And then the only ward that we did not change is Ward 5, which has 100 people more, but all the others have very few more or less. So they're pretty much balanced as far as the total population goes.
Yeah, I would say that number's a pretty good number, that 2.63, I think.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's out of like 100%, if you're putting it in relative terms, right?
Yeah, and like I told you, the law requires it to be under 10%, and we are pretty good with 2.63%. That's really good.
And the deviation rate right now, if we left it alone, is 9 point something.
Yes, it's 9.54.
So it's quite an improvement, really, population-wise.
Before I open it up to the council, whose wards are affected, is there any other questions of Pretty from the board?
What about this?
No.
No? All right. The board will now entertain comments from the council. We have two council members present. Jason Licciardi, Council Ward 4, and Mark Bourget, Council Ward 5. And our clerk, for the record, you have notified all 5 councilmen of this meeting today to be, if they want to be here. Okay, so we'll move up, if you want to call a public comment or not. Obviously, it's your wards that are affected, so we'll hear from, we'll take input from Council 4. Microphone, name and
Up to the
address.
mic. Needs to state his name. State your name too. So when they're present,
Jason Licciardi, 26 Carlson Circle, Ward 4 Town Councilman. I can't see it. So I have glass on. Is there any way that we could blow? I'm more concerned with what, no, I know where it is, but I know with Plan B, an area was taken out was of Ward, or area was given to Ward 4 with Christ the King. And it went, I use my hands a lot, it went that way. So if that's being brought back in, what is the new area? Can you just blow it up on the map? Is there any way to?
In Plan B?
In Plan, I'm sorry, in Plan, I know Plan B, Plan C that was just added for this meeting, because it's not in front of us, so I can't.
Pretty, can you put up?
Yeah, it looks like it's following the river.
Yeah, it's following the river, and then it's also following. So here, if you would like to take a look at it, I can show you that here it's following this West Warwick, and it's following the Avenue, Dale Avenue, Kent Street, Beach Avenue.
There's only so many, in Ward 4, there's only so many places you can go as far as if you're gonna get, like, there's gonna be added to. So you can't go Bald Hill. Doesn't make sense to cross, like, I consider it the box, Cohasset Avenue, LaGris Avenue, where Main Street and Rocks Market. So the only place to go is, and maybe it's on there, I still can't see it.
Oh, you
But
can
this
see
is
it,
on
let
me.
me tell.
Come forward and take it.
Can I come
Oh,
up to
yeah.
the screen?
I can do one more thing. I can actually label the streets so you can see them better.
Oh, you're gonna come over there, all right.
So it's giving you like terrace. That's Robinson Way?
That's what I'm worried about, because he lives at
Oh.
25
So that's the
Robinson
only
Way.
way that you can go, to make it. As long as I'm not,
You
Personally,
can tell
I'm
me
thinking-
which way to go.
I'm thinking of going forward and 10 years, within that 10-year span. I can tell you I won't be on the council in 10 years. That's 100%. But I'm just thinking where the lines are and the issues that you deal with in certain areas. But I still am on the council for at least the next 2. As long as you're not crossing the area, it's fine. I mean, I'm fine with it. You know, because it doesn't make sense to go Christ the King. It doesn't make sense to go West Warwick Avenue. So as long as you're staying within that block, I mean, I think that's, I don't have any issues.
I think that this, not sorry to interject, but I think that this could be an issue pretty, because one of our council members that currently represents Ward 3
Lives on.
lives on Robinson Way, and this map change might affect him.
Pretty, wait a minute,
Yeah.
Pretty, let me ask you this. The Robinson Way, based on what our clerk has just raised, does the line come down the middle of the road so that one side of Robinson Way is 3 and the other side of Robinson Way is 4?
Part of it.
Let me find Robinson Way.
Part of
See,
it.
this is what's gonna happen because he lives.
Robinson Way.
Yes.
It would definitely
It's,
affect
it's
him.
part of it. Is he?
Yes, it would affect him.
Yeah, it would have-
Move him into Ward 4.
Yes, it would.
Well, I'm trying to find out if,
Okay, this is Robinson Way.
yes,
And where approximately does he live? Because he or she live, we could probably work with giving this block back to Ward 3. The deviation may go up a little bit, but it's quite low right now. So if that is a concern, we can take care of that.
JP, he's right.
So
Right
he
at
is
the beginning.
just south of Moretti Drive on Robinson Way.
Yep.
So he's
He's
in,
over here.
Yes.
yes, nope, on the other side of the road, yep.
Yeah.
Nope,
Yeah.
other side, sorry, that side, right there, approximately right there.
Oh,
yeah.
here, Moretti Drive.
Well, he's technically on Robinson Way, but he is closer to, yes, he's at 25 Robinson Way. How do you remember that? I don't know.
Sorry.
No, I find it remarkable, actually.
Okay, tell you what, let me quickly find out how many people live in these blocks. And it's 101 people. If we were to give these 2 blocks back to Ward 3, let me see what would happen to our deviation.
I lived over here. So I know where he lived.
Let me see what would happen is, for some reason, it's not updating but this is something that we could look at if that is a concern. But
I don't know about both blocks giving them. I mean, he certainly doesn't live in both these rectangles here, south of Moretti Drive and south of Robinson Way. I mean, you might have to give him 1, but I don't know about 2.
But then you have an unusual cutout.
Right.
It's confusing for the residents and
No,
the
you
running.
got Moretti Drive south to Pulaski Street up at Tuxet Terrace. That square,
That square is within where he lives.
that's the square,
Yeah,
okay? Well, how about the other square? Well, no, okay, that's different because that would be in the middle of the, okay, I understand that part.
Is anybody?
Felix was, I don't think he's here anymore, and, oh, hold on a second. Yeah, he's not here anymore, and,
Patricia, can I?
oh, there was a Patricia, someone, she just dropped off.
Pat Keenan?
Pat Keenan.
Yes, yep, that Felix is coming back in. I think that's,
Is there anyone else on from the council that would like to, show meeting, but would like to weigh in on this because I didn't
Well, we
take
want
that.
somebody
I didn't
else
take
on the
that
council.
approach.
There's only 2 members here. I don't think Mark wants to talk about Ward 4 and 3.
Well, I didn't say, do I have to come up?
Yes.
All right, sorry.
If you got some more to say, just say it's Jason Licciardi again and
So
I just didn't take that approach. I took a different, I'm looking at this is to say I'm not looking at me. I'm looking at, where I live. I wasn't even considering that. I'm looking at, we're going 10 years out now. So again, it's your meeting. I'm thinking of this as what's the simplest thing for the residents to understand, because right now, so for example, right now, when you have one side of the street, and I'll just, for example, I'll use Mark because he's here. I have the right side of the turnpike heading towards Coventry. I also have part of the left. You skip over 3 streets, which I don't have, and then I have the next set of houses going up to Greenbush Avenue. It's asinine. Makes absolutely no sense. People go to him for issues, and you're looking at a house apart. It could be your house, you're number 1 and you're number 3, and you're in Ward 5, you're in Ward 4. It makes absolutely no sense. So personally, it's just one more thing to avoid. So, again, crossing the main street to me doesn't make sense because, I walk it, I don't think it makes sense to another councilman. I think this is the only way to go. So again, and I'm not thinking of who's here right now, I'm thinking of the future. So that's up to you guys to decide. I think everything I say makes sense, so that's where I'm going with it. But again, that's up to you. I think it's very difficult on Pulaski, as it is, who has the left and who has the right. It only goes up to a certain way, like on Pulaski, I only go up to the bridge on the right-hand side. And then there's nothing over here. I'm talking my hand, sorry, nothing from the bridge all the way to the Coventry line. Then I have the entire left side to the Coventry line.
Just want to let everybody.
All right, good. So it should be either Ward 4 or Ward 3 in there, so.
yes, Jason, he just joined.
So, good, because Jay, you can weigh in on this.
Oh, okay, because I was concerned with why a council.
Can you hear me?
Who had some problems, may have some problems with some water, it's not here, but now you said.
Well, we didn't know that until just now, looking at the line, so we didn't know that he was gonna have an issue.
Somebody
Just-
should be here. I would be here even if I was in.
it's for all
Mark's here, and Ward 5 is what hasn't even been touched.
I'm here because, I'm sorry, Mark Bush at 3 Megan Court. I'm here because of looking at,
Council.
I'm sorry, Council Ward 5 also.
Thank you.
As somebody who's run for council and district, I always get confused on how some of these maps are drawn with the little juts that go here and there. And that was one of the problems I had with Plan B, is that little jut that went up. And just, it gets confusing, not only for those who are running for school committee or town council, but also for the residents there. And the districting part of our charter says shall have 5 wards and comprise compact and contiguous territory contain as nearly as many practical equal populations and have well-defined boundaries. And that's why, to me, trying to figure out a way to make them more well-defined so that they're more box-like to help
Yep.
understand things, not where we're cutting half a street or like Jay said, and I still don't know which houses he's talking about where he's got to cross over and takes into Ward 5 for 3 houses and then go back. Because if we can fix that as well, I'd like to see that fixed on Turner Drive, but
So you're concerned about this little jut here?
the one that was in Plan B, up,
This is Plan B.
Yeah.
That's why Plan B.
there's more up here for Ward 4 when they were creating a line.
Oh, I thought you were talking about your own.
No. My ward's pretty well squared off.
Yeah.
It's got a little spots here and there, but that's fine. But that one jut that went up for Plan B was very confusing, I think, for taxpayers and anybody who has to walk that area for under Plan B.
Yeah.
Plan C looks better minus this new issue, you know,
Well, I like the numbers, well, the visuals better on Plan C.
C,
I
correct.
don't have it here, but.
So I just wanted to bring that to, up, is that in the charter, it does say to try and keep it as contiguous and
Yep.
well-defined as possible,
They
so.
like to use natural boundaries like brooks and bridges and.
And that makes it a lot easier for everybody that way, yeah.
You
Yep,
know, but then you can't always do that.
right.
Want to let
Thank
everybody
you.
know, Councilman Messier, I am in, I just joined the meeting. Can you get,
Address, please, Councilman.
can you hear me?
Yes, address.
Sorry,
please.
I feel like I'm an old person trying to use one of these things. I'm in that age, sorry. Yeah, I just got a text. I heard that there was some conversation about the boundary going to Robinson Way. So I was wondering if you could just kind of like recap that portion of it and where you were looking to change the boundary in this area, obviously, because that's where I live.
Could you give your full name and address and what
Yes,
council?
oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't hear you. Jason Messier, 27 Robinson Way, council member, Ward 3.
Okay, now what is it you'd like, Councilman?
Well, I got a text that you guys were having a discussion about Robinson Way potentially being the new boundary marker, and that would concern me because I'm in Ward 3, and especially with an election coming up this year, that makes a big difference.
Okay, and what would you like, you want Pretty to go back over it?
Yeah, well, yeah, if you could do that, that's fine. And you don't have to do the whole thing, but just what the
Pretty, can you go back over? Would
So
you-
Robinson Way is here and Moretti Drive is here. So Councilman, if you could help me out and let me know where you live so we can see which block we can move.
Yeah, so I literally live on the where 27 is on the corner of Moretti.
Okay, somewhere here.
Can you see the little hand in,
Oh, yeah, okay.
can you see the little hand, Councilman?
Right in that V, like, in that angle.
Is that where you live, right about where that
That
hand
is
was?
where he lives, right there on the corner of Moretti and Robinson, so.
Okay.
Jay, you're muted.
And what's on the screen is Plan, which.
Sorry,
C.
Sorry, for some reason, when I scroll off to look at the map, it mutes me automatically. I don't know if there's a way to change that, but yes, I'm in the, Sarah showed you where I am. I am in the yellow portion. The yellow would still be remaining in Ward 3, or the yellow would be part of Ward 4.
Yellow would be part of Ward 4.
Okay, so that would literally cut me out of the
Could
ward.
you tell us specifically where you live? By the map, you live in that little V-shaped thing?
Yes, again, when I try to scroll off of it, for some reason it mutes me. I'm gonna screenshot it. Hang on.
You mean the blue? Oh.
All right, I'm gonna pull it up. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
So yes, I am in that V, almost where where it says 53. You see where that little number is?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm just repainting the screen, just drawing it. And I have loaded the registered voters, so maybe I can get the address also, so I could figure out
Sure.
exactly. So
Yes.
now you tell me which one of these dots is you or your
Again,
house.
I can't scroll off of it because I'm gonna scroll off for a second, but for some reason it mutes me when I do that, but I will try looking.
Yeah. He's in the yellow portion, Pretty.
Okay, so he's here.
I believe he's either here or the one just south of that.
That's it.
Yeah, where it says 3810, that's essentially where I am. There's two houses there though.
See after the Sunset Terrace heading.
He's right there where those numbers are.
Yeah.
Okay, so it means that these two
Over here.
blocks should be put back in Ward 3.
Right in front.
Do you know the addresses for Mary Beth and David as well?
Mary Beth is
If not, I want to go grab.
450 Wakefield Street, and David,
Okay.
David is Montclair.
All right, so we need to make sure it doesn't affect them too.
Mary Beth. I don't know where David lives.
3 Montclair, which is off of Navarre Street. Navarre, I
Jake,
call
you
it
gonna pull up on your
Navarre.
phone over there?
Which one you want me to pull up?
You can tell me if it affects David or Mary Beth.
Mary Beth is,
Fine. All right, David.
It's, I know it.
What's his,
So you, it goes Patuxent Terrace.
what numbers, David?
You go to Moretti.
Montclair?
So it would be easier if we put these two blocks back in Ward 3.
Number 3.
So
Yes, that puts me back in from what I'm seeing right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so what that means is I need about 100 people back in Ward 4. Maybe we could look at this then, this block.
Okay,
Jay,
That's only 46 people.
Jefferson Street, Arthur Street.
So you'd have,
Beach.
yeah, so you'd have part of Arthur, part of Bleach, and more of Patuxent Terrace.
Laramie, I'm watching it.
So maybe we could look at this, or maybe look at this.
I understand obviously taking Robinson Way out of it, you know, but it doesn't make sense
Oh,
to go to.
now
Whitfield.
you're getting,
Doesn't make sense to go up West Warwick Avenue.
Yeah.
It's just
No,
another
no.
arm for Ward.
well, you can
No.
take out,
Yeah.
see this, pretty, you got four blocks up there, right?
Yeah, I do have 4 blocks
All right,
highlighted.
see
in
the one
this.
that the little cross is in?
Better
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, that's me, because that's Laramie Street. Well, it's Laramie Avenue. I don't know why they call it street. And that would be at least 3 or 4 houses. Let's see, Dale would come across. Yeah, that's probably me. You would then move me into Ward 3.
moved you in.
So can we take these 4 blocks and put them in Ward 4? Because see, Ward 3 has 119 more and Ward 4 has 101 less. If we do the swap, then that would work out.
Well, that's not too bad, because we have, typically there aren't as many voters in 3 as in 4, so. Would everyone agree?
Agree on what?
Voters?
Moving these 4 blocks into Ward 4.
Can I see the streets on that, or the numbers?
Sure, let me turn off the
Other than Ward
voters.
Street,
That is too
Stadium
much.
is.
Yeah, just let it paint. So we are talking about, and I'm going to zoom in further so you can see. We are talking about Bleach Avenue.
Yeah, I know where that is.
So we
Can
are
you go up?
talking about this block,
Yep,
Arthur, Jefferson, Bleach. And this is, let me move it a little bit to the side, Harbor. And this, yeah, so I'm not taking this. I'm just recommending this block. And this block gives me only 46 people. This block gives me 75 together. This block gives me 99. And this one I want to take just to level things out. That would give me 109. And if I were to do a what if, it's going to look like this.
I don't think my neighbors would appreciate. It looks like to me, you have cut Laramie Avenue. It says street, but
Yeah.
it looks like you've cut it in half.
Yep.
One
Yeah.
part of Laramie would be in 4, and one part would be in 3. I don't think they'd appreciate that. I don't.
Okay, so maybe we can get rid of these 2. And that way we won't, well, we would still do that.
Am I reading it
Yes.
correctly now that Patuxent Terrace is also split in half?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Hang on. Yeah,
Yep.
yes, it is.
okay.
Now, if we were to do this, this would not cut off anything and it would still give us some numbers that we are looking for. So we are only 55 short in Ward 4 and Ward 3 has 73 more, which is fine. We can live with that. And the streets are not cut, so maybe that may be a better solution.
Councilman,
I'm sorry,
no, we're gonna do Jay first.
me, Jason Lichardi or Messier?
Jason Lichardi, sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
Where are
Something about,
Chris, Route 117.
Race the Kings in back and free.
So this is what I have.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That's what up to the
All the
point line
three
we currently
things.
have. So this is
Okay.
what she's adding. So before she talked about adding that way, she just set that down and
Okay.
went south, because right now
Daisy Quinn.
you have all of this, but this would be adding.
Okay,
Do you see it? that
so
it right
what is
there?
over here?
Right
Like,
there. Yeah,
This is on the other side of the top.
yeah, okay. great.
okay, what are there,
I
are
think that's the top side.
are there streets over there? Or the only streets are Arthur Street, Jefferson Street?
Yeah.
Where, all right, where is Patuxent Terrace? That's what, I'm just using it as a marker.
I believe this
Oh,
is
right there,
Patuxent
okay.
Terrace. Yeah,
So I would have one side of Patuxent Terrace
and Jay would have the other.
up to Bleach.
Right.
Right, okay. What,
You'd have one side.
that doesn't make sense, so. I'm just thinking, well, I don't know, what, if you want to ask Councilman Messier what he thinks, he's probably looking at the same map.
All right, Councilman Messier, you want to address the board?
Sure. Yes, absolutely. What was the question specifically, Jason?
What do you think of this map?
I mean, I think it's crazy that Patuxent Terrace would be split in half, which
too.
it looks like it is. I know it is correct.
I-
It's split in half.
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that makes sense, but I mean,
Me
they
neither.
you gotta work it out somehow, I guess. I mean, are there other, I mean, I think it makes more sense to have streets closer to your streets. I mean, it made sense where they gave you Wyatt Street and those ones in that little plat. That totally makes sense because that's really more closer to your ward anyway.
yes,
So
I
that
agree.
totally makes sense. And obviously you can't go too far the other direction because Christ the King is the polling place. So you can't take the polling place spot away, I would assume. So you really can't go too far that way. So I don't know what the other solution is. I know it is weird to have half Patuxent Terrace. I think it does confuse constituents to not even just us. I think it confuses constituents when I know when you're on a main road like Main Street or even on Pulaski, it makes, it happens. But I think it's more confusing when you start doing it on a road like Patuxent Terrace, which is kind of like I guess it's a thoroughway, but it's still kind of a side road. It's confusing, I think, to everybody.
It's a cut through from 117.
Yeah.
Pulaski.
Yeah,
I mean, it is what it is. To cut off Robinson Way, I would have objected to. You guys have to maneuver the numbers somehow, so I understand that. I think it would make more sense if we could take those numbers. How many are we getting specifically from Patuxent Terrace? I mean, that would be the question I'd have to maneuver that. But
Okay, let me tell you right off the bat, here in this block, census block, we have 46 people.
and that's Patuxent Terrace, Jefferson Street, and Arthur Street. And
Bleach Avenue.
that doesn't,
Bleach Avenue would be split, Arthur Street would be split.
I mean, I think it's best if possible to not split the side streets. Correct. I mean, I don't know if the
No,
rest of
it's-
you guys agree, but it's better to not split the side streets. But
it's very confusing. I mean, you guys all live in town. I mean, it's very confusing, to people.
especially like Mr. Lambert says, the side, the street doesn't really have many houses. And when you have you're only going to split it like 2 on one side, 2 on the other, it gets very confusing.
What we can do is we can put this block back in Ward 3 if that would make things easier. Would that be better for you all? Would that work better?
Yeah, that's pretty even.
But now it still splits that. So I mean, with that, I guess you have to do something. But it does look like the first portion of Patuxent Terrace there, it would still be switched to Ward 4, correct?
Right.
Yeah, let me see how many voters live there. So yeah, you do have voters, so yeah, it would split regardless. So I think it's better if this block stays here, so there is some sort of,
Half, 50-50.
yeah, so it would be, yeah.
Would it make sense?
Wait a minute, you,
Oh.
I don't know if this is picking it up. Is that picking him up?
Mhm.
Oh,
All
all
right, all right, because I can't see this when I'm over there. So would it make sense to go up Pulaski Street where the blue line is, where take a right onto Patuxent Terrace and give Ward 4 both sides up to Jefferson Street? And then Ward 3 can pick up both sides from Jefferson Street up towards like the Harbor Ave area.
Yeah, that makes more sense, I think.
But if we do that, so what you're recommending, if I understand correctly, you want to give this block to
Oh, no.
Ward.
No,
No, but I understood the other
Oh,
side.
you can't do that because then it takes Robinson away.
no, if you go up Patuxent Terrace and then both sides of Patuxent Terrace.
You can't because.
This is part of
Yeah.
that. This is one block.
Yeah,
I'm not looking at, I'm looking at individual streets versus blocks. Sorry.
Yeah, see, when we work, we have to pick a whole block.
Okay. All right.
As long as you're not taking my street, then I'm pretty amicable to anything, so.
So what do you think of this one? Should we put it in Ward 4? That would make things more balanced. And it would divide the street, you know, almost 50-50.
What would the numbers be if you did that?
So if I put this back in Ward 4,
What if we leave Ward 4 the way it is?
the
don't change
numbers
it.
would be like 73 more in Ward 3 and 55 less in Ward 4, which is okay.
Yeah, which is, yeah.
So wait, that's an option to just leave it as is because it's so close.
Yeah, Jay, we can leave the whole map the way it is if the board so chooses.
You mean the map as it was prior to this meeting, like just the way it was previously,
Right,
correct?
so we're under the 10% deviation currently with the way that the ward lines are drawn. They're just making an effort to make it a little bit more equitable, but we are still within the limits if they chose to keep it all. the same as
I
it is.
mean, if that's an option, then that would 100%. I don't know what Councilman Licciardi, I think it would be much easier to leave it if we're still within that limit to be able to do that.
I'm thinking of this is done every 10 years.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking past me being on the council. I don't know if you're gonna be on the council for 10 years. But I'm looking at with all the new houses being built and the condos and the more voters coming. We're at that cusp right now, and we can't change this for 10 years.
Gotcha. Yeah. I
So
agree
that's
with
why I'm looking at,
Well,
you're the
I'd
board.
rather have a lower deviation myself than
Think
a
makes
higher
sense.
one. Because, yeah, then at least you're starting from somewhere.
Right.
So maybe, then my suggestion would be to leave Patuxent Terrace alone. And if you're gonna add, how many streets do you add for Jason and I can't see the full map, but what are the streets near Wyatt Street? There's like 3 or 4 streets. How much would that, by giving that one to Councilman Licciardi and Ward 4, not to Councilman Licciardi, giving it to Ward 4, whoever may be there. How many would that be? Because I know there's like 3 streets in that area. I'd have to guess.
Which one? Okay, tell me which street are you talking about so I can go to that street?
I'm gonna pull.
I'll turn off the voters so it would be less confusing.
Yeah, well, I can't see on that map there, but if you open it up a little bit, I can go back and look again. When I scroll away, my mic mutes, so I can't talk while I'm looking at the map.
So do you want me to zoom in here?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's right where you see Brown Street and Wyatt Street. Some of those ones were ones you just you added to Ward 4 today, because those were my wards. So I don't know how many streets were if you left that block to Ward 4.
Brown Street is in Ward. That's Quinn.
Tell me the street name one more time because I'm
Not Brown Street. It's the one over there. Is it Wyatt Street, Jason?
Wyatt Street is not Ward 4 currently.
Correct. But in the new map is, yeah, there's Wyatt and there's one other street over there. It's not Brown. I forget the name of it.
Pearson it's off of that. Yeah, that's not Ward 4 currently.
No, it's not prior to today, no.
Which doesn't make sense because it's that weird cutoff and there's nothing past that.
Correct. So I'm just thinking if we're gonna add ones to Ward 4, it should be ones that make sense like that one. And I mean, I'm sure that there's other ones depending on which direction you go.
It seems like, this is the only direction because if we go up north, then we run into this situation. So if you would like, we can look at these streets and not, let's see what's up here. If we
Yeah.
could.
Bell Street,
Okay.
and the ones in that block looks like a better block if we were gonna do that than to cut Patuxent Terrace. I don't know how you feel about that, Councilman Licciardi.
Okay, we can try that because it's giving me the numbers that I'm looking at. So I can try it right now and then you can see. So I'll bring this to Ward 4 and then give about the exact same amount here. So let me figure out, here is 46. And if we figure this out, see, this takes me up to north. If I can give this back to Ward 3, then I have this water. Okay,
Mr. Chairman, I don't think that makes any sense to go up West Warwick Avenue. You're getting into a new area.
Yeah.
And you're cutting into a new area. I don't think that makes sense at all.
and
Yeah,
plus, because of this water block, it would make the ward non-contiguous and we don't
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I guess either way, no matter what, it's gonna be a little bit funky depending on which way we go, so.
So we tried at least.
But definitely that other block, but I don't really know how many the Wyatt Street block really did. That probably only gives you maybe 15, 20 voters, correct?
I'm not being able to locate the street that you're saying. Which one is it?
It's near Brown Street, but it's north
I'm
of,
going to- Let me find out where Brown Street is.
You're looking at two side streets that, one's off the main road and the other is off that. It's-
Okay, here is
it's
Brown
50
Street.
houses total.
So
Yeah, I know
this
it's
is
not all-
Brown Street.
That's Brown Street where Maisie Quinn.
Yeah, that is Brown Street.
yeah, and that's Ward 4, but then when you go north of there's a street called Wyatt. It's on your left-hand side, the same side of the road as Brown. And it's an odd street to be in part of Ward 3. It's just kind of out in the middle of Ward 4.
How'd you spell it? I think,
Go ahead, Pam.
It's Wyman, W-Y.
oh,
Sorry.
Wyman. I
Sorry.
did see Wyman is
Wyman.
right
I
here.
see it
Not
up
my ward,
there.
I don't-
It's
Yeah,
just north,
Wyman is right here.
yeah, it's north of Ferrera Court.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's Ferrera Court is here and Wyman is here.
Yes. I mean, again, I don't know how many voters that is, but
I can find out how many. And there are 66 voters, 66 population.
that's because that would also give you part of, I think it would also include part of Main Street over there too, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, well, if you just gave Ward 4 that, how close would we be at that point?
If I just gave that to Ward 4.
And everything
That's
else,
from
and everything else was the same other than that.
Let me take a look at it. And basically that leaves these two blocks. That leaves this block and this block. So if we were to just give these two blocks back to 91 people, back to Ward 3, So if we do that, then let's see, Ward 3 would have 164 more. And Ward 4 will have 146 less.
Okay.
What do you say about that?
So
Council?
that is the reason why we had these two blocks going to
Yeah,
Ward.
no, I get it. I get this. I mean, no matter what, it's gonna have to be an imperfect decision, I guess, to make them equal, so.
Yeah, you can't get it absolutely,
Yeah.
stop right here and add a street and then start at another street. You can't do that because, well, we're just going by population right now.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
and I understand. I guess the idea for me would try to make it to make the most sense for like, the neighbors, like you don't want to have a side street with 20 people and half of them have one, half to have the other if possible. Can't always be that way, I guess, though.
What happens if you leave 1, 2, 3, and 4 alone and take, you're not gonna like this, I suppose, and take a few voters, he's 100 plus 100, take a few voters out of 5 and put it in 4. What happens then? Because I believe that board has the most, propensity for growth, doesn't it? More than 5?
The issue with that is the division of the line. One of them is, the border from 4 and 5 is Cohasset Avenue.
Yep.
What Cohasset inside is 4, and the Fresco side is 5. And then you go up the Turnpike. And like I said, I have in 4 right now. Ward 4 is the right side of the Turnpike, all the way up to the Coventry line. And Ward 5 is where Vigos Brothers was.
Yep.
Right, correct me if I'm wrong. Going, and that's where it gets weird. That's 5, all the way up Campbell Street, Clare Street, Turner. And then I have 3 houses on the, if you go to Turner is 5. So you take a left onto Turner. That's all 5, except the first 3 houses on the right-hand side. And then after that, I have, Ward 4 has all the way up to Greenbush Road. And then the first 3 houses on the left-hand side of Greenbush Road. Makes no sense.
Do you still have all the condos on the left side also?
Yes, I had the whole scenic condos, yeah. So there's a lot of voters in there. But again, that doesn't make sense. It's almost like Ward 4 has it's almost like a cutout.
And that is because Ward 4 has less people and something's got to give
That's
somewhere.
right. I'm saying, 5 has got the most. He's got 100, more people.
But right now, Ward 3 has the most, 119.
Yeah, but this is under certain plans we've been discussing.
Yeah,
Your plan B, the plan we had last time, A and B.
Yeah.
Plan
Yeah.
B, doesn't 5 have more voters than anybody else?
yeah,
This is residents, not voters.
What, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
yeah, these are residents,
just-
total
just-
population.
But Jay keeps saying that he has like those
Which
3 houses.
Jay?
I'm sorry, Councilman Licciardi still is saying he has those 3 houses on Turner. But if we're cutting this by blocks, I don't see how that happens. Because even that condo unit isn't a block that I'm seeing on here unless, Purdy, if you could pull up that scenic ridge and see if that does cut into Ward 4, if it's still being listed as mine.
No, it's all, Scenic Drive is completely.
Scenic Drive is Ward 4.
Okay, all right. So it does cut in. So that's probably how Turner gets cut in also. See, when it's zoomed in like that, I can see it better.
Where's Turner, pretty? Can you zoom in on Turner?
Turner,
3 houses on Turner, which starts the block. And then the block
the
would have to
Turner
cut in-
Street.
the block would have
Turner
to cut
Street,
in
yes.
all the way up to the 3 houses on Greenbush Road. Really not a block, it's more of like a slice.
Right, and that's why the way this is a computer program set up makes it more difficult for everybody.
Here's Turner.
It's Turner Drive,
Yes.
Ah, okay,
Turner Drive.
I thought I was out of the city then. Turner Drive. Okay, here is Turner Drive. So, but yeah, part of it is in Ward 4. Yeah, some voters are in Ward 4, some in 5. So.
And Ray, I do believe you are correct. Ward 5 has the most opportunity to grow numbers wise. So because we got that condo unit on Greenbush that's not filled yet, still being built, and then they want to build that other one on East Greenwich Avenue. You know, so there's more population that would come to 5.
Well.
I don't know.
Stalemate as far as I can- Yeah, no matter.
I don't think there's any simple solution to this. It's just that, you know, it's almost an exercise in futility. To try to get it perfect. And and how are the rep districts involved in this, or it's just the town councils?
No,
The rep districts would come into play when we work with the precincts. So first thing you have to agree to the wards, and then we'll have to look into the precincts.
Councilman Messier, or
I am still here. Yes.
what I suggest is, I'd like to see one of these, what we did with the Plan C. We don't have it in front of us, it was on the computer. And I'd also think that we should give, what kind of time thing are we on?
We have to make all of our decisions by the second week of April.
Okay,
When?
second week of April.
April, it has to be up to the state.
Okay, so I would suggest that, Pretty, you give us a Plan C. Plan C that you have printout, so we each have one and can read it at our leisure. And also,
That's,
You said no to Plan C though, right?
yeah, because Messi is taken out of, on Plan C.
well, I just want to see it.
Oh.
You know, she mentioned it. I know he's in.
Okay.
And then we can, I'll ask the town clerk that she give these A, B, and C to the councilmen themselves. Messier and even Goslin and Mary Beth Williamson, so that they can look and say, well, I'm okay, I'm not okay. Obviously, Messier is not okay, the Plan C, I know that. And then that way we can study it and look at it. And Pretty, I would ask you, by the next meeting, if you could please do something, look at Ward 5 and see if there's any reasonable block you can take out of Ward 5, because to me, that's the one, and Mark, Councilman Bourget said it, that's the ward that's got the most potential for growth in the 10 years. And it's also, isn't it, doesn't it have more vote? If we left it the way it is right now, Pretty, it doesn't Ward 5 have the most voters, I mean, most residents in it?
Yeah, it has 100 more, yeah. And right now, I'm thinking, you know, if the councilman lives in the blocks that we were proposing in Plan C, then I want to make this as Plan C so that he is in his ward.
Fine.
Yeah,
So-
I would prefer, I mean, if we eliminate that one now, I mean, there's no point in leaving that one on there now, I would hope.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Or-
already took these two
or-
blocks out.
Hang on a minute, Pretty Board,
Yeah.
do you agree that instead of a Plan C, we're gonna have a Plan C.1? because she's gonna take Councilman Messier. Right now, if she sent us her Plan C, that would impact
She's gonna-
Councilman Messier.
Okay.
So,
Why not just call it Plan D?
well, okay, well, if you want, well, because we won't have a Plan C, she won't send us it because it'll be.
Yeah, see, there is no point because if we already know that the councilman lives in the blocks that we were proposing to move, so why not make this as Plan C rather than, going back to the one which we already know would have an issue for the councilman?
Council Vice Chair? I mean.
Yes,
Board
okay.
Vice Chair. Okay, so send us a Plan C without Councilman Messier being in it. In the present Plan C, and also see what you can come up with. I know you didn't touch it this time. See what you can come up with Ward 5, because it's 100 heavy and plus it's got the most potential for growth. I think that's where you gotta look.
Okay,
If you're only gonna move like 100 people. And then Mark, you, when the council clerk sends everybody a copy of it, you'll be able to, make your things. And we can have a meeting ASAP. If you want next Wednesday, have it next Wednesday.
Wednesday seemed to work for everyone.
okay, let me ask you, while the
Does Wednesday
councilmen
work
are
for
there.
everybody?
Yes.
Next one,
Yeah.
your surgery.
Yeah, my surgery tomorrow.
You want to?
I could be on phone, right? I could be on phone.
She just can't vote. So you'd only,
can't vote on
yeah,
phone?
no,
No.
you can't.
How about Zoom? Did you vote on Zoom?
No, that's what I mean.
And I don't have an alternate right now.
Can you come in a wheelchair?
That's right, you do not have an alternate.
She
So-
doesn't, however, two of you still makes a quorum.
No, I understand that, but
You
she
want me to
wants to,
cancel my surgery?
Yes, I do, no.
no, she wants to vote.
Well-
How about the,
Right, my suggestion might fix this right now, though. If Purdy can go to Esmond Street,
I'm already there, so
Yeah.
I'm looking at these two blocks. My only
it's out of
concern
Ward 5.
was, yeah,
It's out of Ward 5 and there's a big condo place up there and a bunch of houses. So it might be about 100 people or more.
I
Yeah,
might
see,
be,
it's 163 more.
but it's not
that's
my
good
plan.
that you gave her that pointer, but I mean, I want to see this. We're not gonna vote on this.
No, I'm just saying that,
Just tell her what you,
right, Esmond Street.
Yeah,
So what is that? How much is in that block?
okay, if I just look at this block, we have 85 people. But if we also look at this block, because there is a point of entry from here, East Greenwich Avenue, if we look at these two blocks and put them in Ward 4, that would give us 163 people.
Okay, and that would only be the west side of East Greenwich Avenue, correct?
Yes, one side of East Greenwich Avenue.
and it would split it, right? I want you to know that. In
Yeah.
other words, East Greenwich Avenue, in other words, from,
It'll be split from here, Dyer Street to,
So
Right, Main Street will be
with
split.
just Esmond, what does that do to our,
83.
yeah, but what does that do for the percentage that we're looking for?
okay.
That deviation?
The deviation, thank you.
Yeah, I don't-
Can you figure that out, pretty now? The deviation, if you just gave them that one block?
Yeah, let's take a look at it real. Give me just a second. So the most would be Ward 3. And the least would be the first one. Yeah, it would,
No.
still not be bad at all.
What's the actual number?
I'm telling you. It'll be, oh, geez. I made a mistake. It'll be 2.7. Maximum deviation would be 2.7%. 2.77, so it would be 2.8, which
that.
is still good.
All right, so look at that, pretty, and have it next meeting. Before I adjourn, anything else? Councilman Messier, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to write, can you just tell me the date of the next meeting?
Well, we're gonna figure that out in a minute. If you have anything to add to these maps and whatever.
No, I've stated my piece. I just want to be able to, I'm sure that you'll send them over. Even if you leave them with Sarah at town hall where I can go pick them up, then that's fine. So I can look them over. With the different plans, the A, B, and the C or D. Nope, that's all.
Councilman Machado,
When would this go into effect?
this election.
Right, the primary and the.
Okay.
Well, the election. Okay. Now, next Wednesday's okay with me and everybody else, but she's having surgery on Thursday.
Yeah,
How about the Wednesday,
I
would you be
mean,
okay the Wednesday after that?
oh,
We're
yes,
still in
definitely,
March.
yes. Huh?
I'll drive Miss Daisy next Wednesday.
Yeah,
Driving
I
Miss
should,
Daisy.
I-
You sure you want to trust Paul and?
Ooh,
All right,
no.
next Wednesday.
I stop off at the liquor store first.
Next Wednesday at 3
3:00,
o'clock.
and it's Wednesday, March 23rd, Jason.
March 23rd. Thank you.
March 23rd at 3:00.
All right, see you all then.
Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Okay.
Public
Thank
comment.
you.
Paul, you're the only public commenter that didn't say anything yet. All set?
Yep.
All right. Having passed through our regular order of business, I'll entertain a motion, we adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. The meeting stands adjourned at 4:40.